Good morning, Guam, and thanks for starting your day the KUAM way with our starting lineup Monday morning meeting. And get right to it. Introduce our new reporter, Adriana. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome,
Hi, everyone.
welcome.
Thank you. Yes, so my name's Adriana Cotero, and I'm coming from Saipan, previously working at KSPN.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm from Michigan. Wasn't born there, but raised there for the most part. Born in California, from a little town called Saline, Michigan. And I always say it's near Ann Arbor because no one ever knows where Saline is, but still have to represent and say it. So about 10 minutes from the big house.
Go Blue.
Yeah, exactly. Go Blue. But raised there, and then went to Central Michigan University, fire up chips. So that's where I graduated from, and then went to KSPN for my first job right out of college.
Nice.
Covered the storm, huh?
I did. Covered the storm, definitely. So that was a whole new experience, but I'm really glad that I got to do that. Learned a lot there.
That's your badge of honor for living in the tropics now.
Yeah, gained a stripe, I'd say.
Different types of storms, not all natural.
Yeah, right.
True.
Yep. And yeah, now I'm here in Guam, and I'm excited to start and join the team.
Nice. So, what are some of
Welcome
the
aboard.
things you're going to be working on this week?
Well, we'll see where I get what I get thrown into, but I'm open to everything. I love to learn. That's kind of why I chose to be a journalist, or why it kind of chose me in a sense. But yeah, I love learning new things, so I'm up for anything. Whenever I was in Saipan at KSPN, they put me in politics, and I had never really covered anything at all with like legislature, anything. I was like, what's this House bill? Oh my gosh, what is all this? Like, I learned so much though, and then I ended up just completely. I was just diving into it, and I loved every minute of it. So I'm up for anything. I'm ready to learn. And
Well, speaking of politics, the legislature will be in a special session this morning. They're going to take up a bill introduced at the request of the governor to authorize the attorney general to hire special counsel. I think what they're trying to do is get into it's not a class action suit, I was told. When state governments get together, there's another term for it, which I forget. But basically, it's suing some major corporate entities for certain PCAS chemicals that are contaminating water throughout the country,
wow.
including Guam. And so I was reading in my research, one community of about less than 10,000 people were paid about $630 million
Wow.
for the contamination of their water. So there's a time sensitivity here, so that's why they called a special session, because they want to be able to get the AG, the special counsel that the AG will ultimately hire to sort of start pursuing that and getting Guam onto that litigation. So
Right.
that's the bill that they'll be addressing today.
Kind of interesting because a couple weeks ago, Senator Teresa Lai introduced a very, very similar bill, but it would allow the AG to retain private counsel on a contingency fee basis to not just sue for water contamination, but I mean, it runs a gamut, cultural sites, land contamination. So I thought that was pretty interesting that the governor introduced something and we pull out all the stops and have a special session when a very similar, if not more comprehensive measure is already sitting there.
Well, this is because it's time
Right,
sensitive.
yeah,
They want to try to get it onto that.
I mean,
But
630
the
million.
bill that you're talking about also had to do with Agent Orange,
Right.
which has been an issue for
Sure.
decades, right?
Yeah.
So,
But it's massive because I remember you asked me to look at the different states, and it was like Vermont,
Yeah.
New York, New Jersey. It's huge.
Yeah, it's one of these things that chemicals that were introduced decades ago that are now kind of
Forever chemicals.
Forever chemicals. Actually, that's what they call them, right? And so now it's coming back to haunt them.
Right.
I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these are big, deep pocket corporations like
3M.
3M and DuPont. I think was the other one. I forget exactly, but whoever the manufacturers of those chemicals are, those I guess are the objects of their of this suit.
We just got something from the Guam Police Department over the weekend. There was a man who walked into the Telefofo fire station who said he was stabbed, so they just actually made an arrest in that case. So arrested was a 23-year-old Alan Jesse Chaco Charfris for aggravated assault and use of a deadly weapon in the commission of a felony. And speaking of crime, this Wednesday, there's going to be another town hall meeting, this time in the village of Dededo, Guam's largest
Whew,
town.
it's gonna be hot.
Yeah. And so last week it was Tamuning. And there was another town hall, but this has nothing to do with crime, but Congressman Michael St. Nicholas. And so I think there was a point in that town hall where there was a constituent in Inarajan who was criticizing the senators on why there weren't more that showed up, because I think it was just Speaker Barnes and I think Senator James Moylan. I mean, although it was a congressional town hall meeting, but
Right.
he was kind of upset, saying that, you know, senators, they work 24 hours and, you know, they should be here at these meetings. So we're going to go through the tape and take a look at
War
what all.
claims. I think there's a rush to get the war claims paid out
Right,
on
right.
the 75th anniversary on the 21st of July. Today's July 1st, right? Yeah. 21 days from now.
I don't know if
yeah,
that's
so,
going to happen. I don't know.
yeah. It would be great. It would be a great
Yeah.
show. I mean, you know, handing
Good
out
photo
checks.
op.
Great photo op. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's Sunday, right? Is the Menengan Memorial?
Yeah, the Menengan
Right.
Memorial service is this Sunday. There's also the Menengan Memorial Run, which KUAM actually is going to be participating in.
Oh, great.
You guys are running. So that
I
should,
think you told me about that.
yeah.
Hey, welcome to the
Right,
team.
it's like, "Hey, you run?"
So I just got this email from my cousin who runs Boy Scouts on Guam, and she was asking me, hey, we want to be involved with the Menenga Memorial, but is there still that dispute that's going on with the property? And so I was able to find out last week that the dispute has been pretty much resolved. They're drafting up a lease agreement. I mean, no one knows how much we're going to rent this or lease this property, but it's going to run from Friday to July 22nd. So it's a 1-month lease, and then I guess the family had said that moving forward, they're going to try and do some kind of long-term deal with the government of Guam. So,
Are they leasing it till the 22nd just to allow people to come in and
right,
visit the site?
yeah. So,
I think over the weekend too, the Archbishop Burns was concelebrated mass with the Pope, and then he, along with a couple of dozen other archbishops throughout the world, were recognized as the new shepherds of their individual flocks. So I think he presented them with this pallium, which, as I understand, is kind of like made out of wool from a special sheep in Italy, and it's symbolic of being the new shepherd of his flock. And there will be actually a ceremony here. A date has not yet been announced. It depends on the Papal Nuncio's schedule to come here, and he will be the actual one to drape this pallium, it's called, over the Archbishop, as symbolic that he is the new shepherd of the Guam flock. And so, of course, only happened 3 times in Guam's history, because we've only had 3 archbishops.
The Papal Nuncio?
Wow.
The Pope?
Or
Or
his representative, yeah,
Okay.
his representative. I wish the Pope would come.
Right?
But
Yeah.
it will be his representative,
Right.
the Papal Nuncio.
We're all going to be fighting. Who's covering? I'm covering.
well, there you go. That's what we're working on for this week. Thanks so much for watching a morning meeting on our KUAM starting lineup, Facebook Live, a series of show. Of course, I'll be at you tomorrow morning for group chat. Until then, I'm Chris for the team. Josh.
Bye.